Hello, and thank God it is Friday. You are listening to The Financial Chick. I am Denise Nostrom, the CEO and owner of Diversified Financial Solutions, a full service independent financial planning firm located in Medford. Thank you for listening to me here on LI News Radio 103.9. I am here every Friday from 5:30 to 6 p.m. The Financial Chick is here to help you make better financial decisions and choices to improve your life and reduce your stress and anxiety about money. If you have any questions on anything we discuss here on air, feel free to contact my office at 631-758-8691 or visit my website at www.diversifiedfinancial.biz. Or if you're on Facebook, check out our Facebook page, Diversified Financial Solutions. Well, to get started today, it is actually my mother-in-law, Francine's birthday, and I know she's usually out there listening, so I hope she's listening today. But I would like to wish her a very happy birthday and hope she's enjoying her day. I did talk to her earlier. She was relaxing, so that's a good thing. We all need to do that, especially on our birthday. So today, I'm happy to have a guest on the show. He is not only a client and a friend, but also the New York State Assemblyman representing the 3rd District, which is my district. Joe is dedicated to making his community a better, safer place and has devoted his life to serving his neighbors. Joe started volunteering with the Medford Fire Department in 1980, served as a fire district commissioner for the past 25 years, and served with the Medford Volunteer Ambulance for the last 36 years. Joe was a public safety communications supervisor in the Suffolk County Sheriff's Office, where he managed the day-to-day operations of the dispatcher, as well as supervised radio communications and other vital functions for 27 years. Enjoying widespread support from the working men and women of his district, he was the unit president of the Sheriff's Probation Civilian Unit, representing more than 200 Suffolk County Association of Municipal Employees, also called AME, members. I want to welcome Joe DeStefano to the show today. So, how are you doing, Joe?
Denise, first of all, let me say it's an honor and a privilege to be a guest on your show. We've known each other so long, and when you asked me to come on your show, I was very happy, and I was grateful that you would even think about asking me to come here. You enriched my life, financially with all the things that you've helped me with over the last several years. You put me in the right direction on a lot of the investments that I had, and you sat down with me many, many times and told me where I needed to be. And so far, so good. Knock on wood, everything's worked out really good for us. So I have you to thank for that. So thank you for that, please.
Well, thank you. That's very sweet. I appreciate that. So you're listening to the Financial Chick Show. Any questions, again, you can always contact my office at 631-758-8691. My company is Diversified Financial Solutions, and as a true comprehensive financial advisor, my clients look to me as not only a person that handles their financial lives, but also as a resource. Being in the business for over 24 years, I have been blessed to meet many people that have been a tremendous resource to me, and one of my blessings is you, Joe. Joe DeStefano has been one of those people. I know I can always reach out to him if there's things that need to happen or questions that need to be answered. He's the guy. So Joe, we're deep into the election cycle, and it's only 32. That's right, 32 days to election day. Not like I'm telling you anything you don't know, right?
I know.
So you're running for re-election right now. But for the listeners, I really want this to be an education source too. Please let them know, what does an assemblyman do?
Well, far cry from my commissioner experience in Medford. My district actually goes from Holtzville to the west and to Mastic Beach to the east, up to Ridge and over to Selden, a little bit of Selden. And what we do is we represent and advocate for the constituents of my assembly district. And what that means is that we are we're the governing body of the assembly in our district. We represent the people. I think we have 60 or 70,000 residents that cover that district.
Wow.
And what it is basically we're going to advocate for the needs of the communities. Anything from bail reform, which we all know is crazy, which of course I don't advocate for, but any of the things that may enrich their lives, or the laws that are made, they have to live with. And unfortunately, there's been some really bad things that have happened in Albany the last couple of years. I was inaugurated with a baptism of fire with a lot of bad bills that have come out. But basically, where we shine is our constituent services. People in my office, we just got through the unemployment situation. We still have a bit of it yet, and it's starting to rekindle again. But our office handled several thousand, not complaints, assistance. They called us because they could not get through to the Department of Labor. And so they reached out to us. It was either or. It could have been any of these. In my case, it was either me or our Senate partners. I have a couple of those, and we helped a lot of people. We've gotten tons of emails from people that said thank you for helping us because we couldn't get anywhere with the Department of Labor.
That's
And
huge.
we used our resources that we had where normal citizens would not have those access points that we had. So we did help a lot of people, and hopefully it doesn't get like that again. But again, when you advocate for your constituents, you have to listen to what they have to say, and you got to help them the best you can. And that's why our office does so well, is because we do listen to our constituents and we do advocate on their behalf, and we do help them as best we can.
Well, it's good that they know they have a place that they can go to. And I guess one of the things that might be a question on people's mind, what areas or committees, I mean, I know you do overall constituency assistance, but if there were certain areas, do you work in certain areas or committees through the Assembly?
I'm on 5 committees, the Aging Committee, the Alcohol and Drug Abuse, I am the ranking member of that, Transportation, and I'm also on the Governmental Employees Committee. And what we do basically is we meet when we're in Albany. We haven't been in Albany since July. We've been doing a lot of stuff on Zoom. We still get some work done, but we have not met in a Zoom conference since July. I believe that's hurting us. I think that we should be in session. We have not ended session yet, officially, but we think that after Election Day we'll be either going back up to Albany or doing the Zoom session, which we've done before. So that's where I'm at.
So like with those committees, like what's the outreach there? Is it basically you're helping individuals, or it's basically like the drug and alcohol? It's the companies or nonprofits.
I forgot to mention I am also on the Labor Committee in Transportation. I know I said Transportation, but not Labor.
Okay.
Labor is one of the biggest ones.
I bet.
But what happens is all of the Assembly members are drafting bills for the first 2 years. Well, the first year they draft bills, and you can always introduce a bill as long as you're allowed to. And what happens is each member drafts a bill or 2 or 3 or however. There's no real limit, and it goes before the committee, and the committee decides whether or not it gets out of committee and goes to the floor for a vote. And sometimes it goes through several committees. If it goes through labor, it might have to go to codes and then ways and means, and so it has multiple processes that it may have to go through to become a bill that gets voted on the floor. So the way a bill is introduced is through the member. One of the members, whether it be Republican or Democrat, it doesn't matter. There's thousands of bills that are introduced every year. Not all of them ever make it to the floor. Some of them get stymied in committee, especially if you're in the minority. Your bills generally do not get out of committee, generally. Local bills usually do. That's something, naming a bridge or naming a park or a tax abatement or something to that effect. A tax, income tax, sales tax, things like that. We extend sale taxes. There's always new taxes that are always introduced, and for the most part, we do not support any of those. The record will show that our conference generally does not support tax increases, no matter what they are. Tax extenders, of course, the taxes are already on the books, so the communities that they're in and the counties that they're in, they come back to the Assembly when that bill sunsets to either redo it or to not redo it, and usually it's a redo, because they're the communities where they are suffering just like anybody else, so they need those revenues to help with their balance sheet. They need to bring those revenues into their coffers.
Right. So the bills, how long do they do? Are they usually quick, or what would you say is the average time?
No, it depends on.
And we're running into commercials, so.
Oh, it's one of those things where if it's the majority that wants the bill, it can fly through. So it's one of those kinds of things. But they generally you make a bill when you get there, and it could last the entire 2 years that your session is.
Wow, that's crazy. So I guess government's not really quick, but we're glad we have you there. So this is the financial chick, Denise Nostrom. The company's Diversified Financial Solutions. We help you look for solutions when you feel like there are none. We're closing in on the commercial, so stay tuned. We'll be right back after the break to continue talking with Joe DeStefano from the 3rd District in Suffolk County.
See, that's what happens. So you get into involved with it, and it becomes something, and it just eats up all your time. Because those are the things. But you want to know what the reality of it is, and how a bill really gets passed, and how what the channels that it goes through to get there. Again, there's bills that fly through, like when they did the abortion bill. They both houses signed it the same day. The governor signed it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things where you got to really, if it's something they want, it zips on right on through.
Yeah.
Zips on through. If it's something we want, takes
Well,
forever
that's
and a day.
the balance right now
And
that
then
we're lacking, right?
And at the end of the session, they tell us to withdraw our bills because they don't want to consider them. And we say no.
Yeah.
Bring it up for a vote. And they never let them out of committee. But those are the bad things. There's a lot of good things too. That's the bad stuff. I mean, we've been able to do, like I was able to get the patch on the Medford Library, the land
Oh,
up in
that
Medford.
thing. Yeah, that's right.
That's a local bill. Those are the ones that they found electronic. And truth be told, Monica was the one that trying to help me with that.
Mm-hmm.
She was the one that took that bill in the Senate and it got passed.
Gotcha.
Now we gotta kill her now. You know that, right?
I do.
How long was your break in between?
We got
Pretty quick.
30 seconds to come back.
That was quick.
Yeah, for sure, it's only 2 minutes.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Denise Nostrom, the Financial Chick. My company is located in Medford, and you can reach us at 631-758-8691, the company Diversified Financial Solutions. So we're back with Assemblyman Joe DeStefano. So, Joe, let's talk, well, we really don't want to, but let's talk a little bit about the coronavirus situation. I mean, this has been a tough year for everybody, whether you've been affected or not affected. I mean, I think we've all been affected in some way. How has it been working in Albany during this trying time? Now, you mentioned before that you haven't been in session since July, but what kind of happened between March and July, and what are things looking like at this point?
So back in March, when we were learning about the coronavirus, we gave the governor executive powers to get us through, which means that he basically cut out, and it was partially our fault as well because we gave it to him, but we figured that once the curve was flattened and we got back to some kind of normalcy, that we would be able to take those powers back and become an equal branch of government again.
Mm-hmm.
Well, today is October 2nd, and we still have not gotten those powers back to the equal branches of the legislature. When that bill was passed and we gave those powers to him, it lasts until next April, which is another budget season. And that's unfortunate because there's a lot of things that are going on in our communities that he is actually giving us, stymieing us in a lot of respects. What happened today, we had a press conference about opening up catering halls. They're only allowed 50 people, and the plea to the governor is to please reconsider that and to give them the 50% that their capacity is. And for an example, Villa Lombardi's has a capacity of 1,000, and they can social distance, with all the necessary CDC requirements and guidance and things like that. And limiting amount of people on a dance floor. We're talking about things like the father-daughter dance and stuff like that. We're not talking about.
That's a big place.
We're not talking about jamming through the streets. We're talking about the things that brides and grooms kind of look for in a wedding. They are pleading with them because this is affecting families. There's a lot of people that are unemployed. A place that can have 50 people when they can have a capacity of 1,000, and even if you gave them the 50%, that's 500. That's a break-even point in some places. Right. When you have a capacity of that many people, you can safely put that 500 people in that building, and it will help them and get people back to work. You can't, as far as the state and the county is concerned, you can't cry poverty that you're waiting for federal assistance to come down when you have your own businesses shut down. And the reason why that is because the governor needs to give the guidance back to these establishments and these small businesses to get them reopened. It's a trickle-down effect, Denise.
Well, it is. I mean, when you think about it, when people are working, they're paying into state tax, federal tax, Social Security, Medicare. All of these systems
Right.
are affected when people are not working. Now, we understand it's a serious situation
Yes.
with coronavirus, but we've come so far that we know how to manage it.
Right.
You know, and just if everybody really does the right thing and have people on the ground to say, listen, you don't wear a mask, this, you got to do this. This is what we need to do.
And truth be told is that, we're talking about people's lives. And the word I left them with today was compassion. We need to have compassion for these people.
For all
There's a lot of people. And when I say trickle-down effect, you got to remember, it's the caterers, the photographers, the DJs, the florists. It's all of those
It's a
people.
lot of
It's
people.
not just the catering halls. So think about the ripple effect that has throughout the economy when you have all of those places shut down and operating at like 5%. I mean, it's insane to do that. And we'll talk about my situation. A few months back, the bowling proprietors came to me and asked me for help.
Yeah.
They were asking that they comply with all of the CDC laws and rules and this and that, and they were just looking for guidance. They went through everything they needed to do, and we had a press conference up in Coram Country Lanes, and that thing took off. That had legs of its own, and that became a real bipartisan issue, and it went throughout the state. And within a few weeks, the governor let us reopen bowling centers. And I think the same is going to happen here once he realizes that these people have invested a lot of money in making them safe and making them where people can come. Think about how many lives have been affected by not having a wedding, not having a sweet 16. You're only going to be a sweet 16 once.
Absolutely.
You're only going to have a 50th anniversary once.
Exactly.
These are people that their lifetime dreams, brides and grooms, that they're done. They're not, because they've decided they're not going to have it. And in my own district, there's a catering hall. I don't want to name it, but they've been calling my office day and night trying to help them reopen. And guess what? It never happened. They're selling their business. They're selling their
I've
business.
seen a lot of that. I mean, unfortunately, they're selling, but a lot of people have just gone and they're done at this point.
And they're going to turn it into an apartment complex. Whoever bought the property is going to turn it into an so. This is what's going to happen. You're going to see more and more, and we all know the city of New York, where we read yesterday that 50% of the restaurants and bars are not going to reopen ever again. So think about how that's going to hurt the economy even further. So it's a ripple effect. One has to do with the other, and it just keeps going. It's like a domino. It keeps falling. And unfortunately, they would like to get a chance at reopening, just like we were able to win the gyms. We did the same thing with the gyms. We had the press conferences for the gym. These things have become far too often. These press conferences trying to get people to reopen their businesses.
But thank God there's people, again, you're doing that constituency service to help these companies. I mean, they're all small businesses. They're you and I. What's interesting is all these big businesses were open, Home Depot, and you've got, not to pick on any company, but all of these large companies were open throughout the whole pandemic. How do they know how to do it safely, but the smaller companies don't? That's where I think there's a bit of a disconnect.
I think that, it's probably, maybe a bad thing to say, but it's probably politically motivated, I'm going to say. There's a lot of theory out there that once the national election is over and whoever, depends on who wins, you'll see things changed either one way or the other. They're going to either open up all the way or they're just going to shut down all the way. One or the other is going to happen. And unfortunately, we've been able to have some success reaching out to the governor. This is not a bash the governor kind of a thing. This is a governor, we need your help to reopen businesses that contribute to our economy and contribute to our communities and make people's lives better. Having more people working is better than not having them.
Well, that's the thing, having people working and not taking from the government, because at some point, all this has to be paid back. It's not something that just free money that people believe it is, but in the end, we're all going to pay for this. So as long as we do it safely, we don't want people to get hurt or God forbid die. But we need to keep living and moving on.
And we're even of the opinion that people that we were speaking to today said, listen, give us 6 weeks. Let's see what happens. If we're controlling it and it's good, fine. If it doesn't, then we'll shut it back. Then we'll shut it down.
Give it a chance.
Right.
You gotta know what's going on.
It's not being unreasonable. It's absolutely not being unreasonable. And I'm proud to sit with other elected officials to represent the communities that we do. And it's going to happen. Like I said, I think the governor sometimes can be very fair-minded when it comes to things like this, because we have had some success in other areas. Like I said, the bowling proprietors and also gyms, restaurants and bars and things like that. The thing I don't like is that the bars and restaurants are being targeted by the state liquor authority, and that's hurting
Seen a
their
lot of
business. That's hurting their business even more. So, you know, that's another thing that we've been trying to curtail. Listen, I understand compliance. I've complied with everything in my whole life. I'm just thinking that, you know, we need to give these people an opportunity to prove they can do the job. They have paid a lot of money. And guess what? The tax man doesn't say your property taxes are $50,000. Yeah, hold on to that for a while, because you know you didn't work all year, 7 months. Your business wasn't open, so you know just hang on to that until you can afford to pay it. They're not giving you any tax breaks. They want their taxes.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're going to put your thing up for sale.
No, definitely. So I know as a big supporter, I want to not forget to talk about this. So this weekend, there's going to be a rally, Back to the Blue Police Support Rally. So tell my listeners a little about the event and how they can be part.
Okay, so I happen to be very proud to be one of the organizers of that event. It's going to be Sunday afternoon at the Dennison Building on Vets Highway in Hauppauge. Basically, what it's going to be is going to be a support of Back to Blue, which means all of our police officers, sheriffs, corrections officers, all of our PBAs that represent law and order in our communities. The one thing that when I go out and I talk to people is that they talk about they don't even talk about coronavirus or taxes and those things. The things that resonate with them the most is their communities being protected by our police. That is what resonates. Bail reform is another one. These are the people that keep our communities safe. So that's why I'm very proud to be part of that.
Yeah, so this weekend, try to get out there from 2 to 4. I think there's gonna be a lot of heavy hitters out there too.
We have a lot of name brand talent that's going to be there and speaking. We're trying to keep it down so that people don't leave. We have a lot of speakers.
All right. Well, listen, the show is almost over. I want to thank Joe DeStefano for joining me tonight. That was some great information, so I thank you, and I want to thank my listeners. Take care, be well, and enjoy the weekend. Let's give it peace.